My name is Peter Bradberry, and my build is the Mesmerizing LEGO drawing machine. And it started off as a very simple spiral graph based project. And then I thought, well, what happens if we make it bigger? And I'm going to have to drive it to get it bigger. Everyone asked me about using a Mindstorms brick, but I like the fact that it's a traditionally geared driven machine. If you look, we have a worm gear that turns that first arm, and it's going still fairly fast, but I wanted the second arm to move at a different speed. So I stepped it down, and I purposely built it so that when it stops, I can pick it up and show people that this is how you step down the gears, and we moved it over. And so the second arm moves much slower, but I also wanted it to go bigger, so I had to drive it. Have another worm gear that changes the direction of the drive, and we've stepped it down even further to that drive tire. My first version of that just went back and forth on the page like our sheet that we have over here. And I thought, I want to go bigger. So I got this photography backdrop paper, put the weight in the middle, and then it just goes in a circle.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love how big you went with it. So explain more about the weight and kind of how that connects with the whole build here and how that works.
The weight is just heavy enough that it doesn't allow it to drag away. It's just an anchor point for the center.
Okay. Yeah, and then you've got the kind of clear string there so that it can kind of just go around in a circle.
Yep. And I can change the length of that to get even more variation. And this is one of those projects that I have different ideas of doing different things with it, like walking the weight actually down the paper. So you have, instead of the circles that are overlapping each other, they just kind of walk down the paper even bigger.
That's really neat. And how does the pattern work as far as, is it the same pattern every single time, or if you mess with the gears and everything, can you switch up how the pattern looks?
The gearing I keep the same because it would be too difficult to take that apart. I didn't make it that way. The easiest way to change it, and it varies it actually a lot more than I realized that it would, is just the position of the Technic pins on the arms. So I just move one in and one out, or one out and one in, or move them both out. I just change it. Every time that I change the color, I change the position of the pins, and it gives a slightly different variation.
Yeah, and then it gives these cool patterns like this as it goes around the circle. So have you done a lot of sort of mechanical builds like this in the past? Is this something you find you enjoy working on?
I really enjoy this, and I think this is the direction that a lot of my builds is taking the direction that my building is going is down this path.
And what tips would you have for people who may be working on this type of stuff, challenges you found along the way, or things that you find are tough with builds like this with moving parts?
Friction. Like getting the gears too tight, you're going to wear them out. One thing that I had with the pin, that's about the 6th different type of pin I found before I found one that worked really well. It's the Sharpie ultra fine clickable point. The clickable point's nice because I can just pick it up, click it off, and it won't make errant marks on the paper. And the Sharpie tip, the ultra fine, holds up really well. Like a regular Sharpie, I blend it out really quick. A ballpoint pen didn't have enough weight to work. Felt tip messed up after about 5 minutes. So I tried pencils, but they just got too dull after about a few minutes. So it's one of just experiment, change things up. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, just try something different.
Right, there you go. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking us through that. I think it's a really interesting kind of different build you've got here, so I really like how it turned out. Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. Come back later and check and see what it looks like when it's finished.
That just makes this idea.